So right now, have you guys been following the story about how Sharia law is on the ballot in Texas because Islam has targeted Texas? I mean, we're looking at like a couple of 100-acre city planning processes that they're working on, and they're talking about billions of dollars is behind the invasion of America. And the same way they put a Muslim Marxist in office in New York City, Mandami, they plan on making Texas the takeover state. You talk about a chutzpah. That's amazing. So we're going to cover that today. I got Frank Gaffney here with me. How do I maintain my equilibrium in the midst of all this? I'm taking this new thing called Level 10 Liquid. You know why I love it? Because I put it together with a friend of mine as a special 14 powerful all-natural ingredients, antioxidants, nutrients, phytochemicals. And I just found that this, from collagen to aloe vera, we put together an elixir that I think is helping me deal with the stress of the days we're living in. And, I'm turning 70 this year, but thank God I've got my friends working with me on Level 10 strategies, and Level 10 Liquid is now part of it. And I want to share it with you. Go to level10liquid.com. And just order it. I don't have a number for you yet. I can't believe I don't have a phone number. It's all brand new. I've been taking this for 2 years. Just couldn't get it bottled for anyone else. Level10liquid.com. And let's get into today's battle with Islam, because Sharia law is on the ballot in Texas.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the train is taking off. I used to play this back when the election was lost in 2020, 2021, 2020. And I kind of blew that thing, and I said, Lord, is it possible that I hear that train a-coming? And there it came. It came, and God delivered Trump back into office. And after a firestorm of activity in the first year, something, I believe, ominous. I can't put my finger on it, but I think there was an inflection point with the murder of Charlie Kirk. At that point, there was something that was dividing our people. It was dividing us over Israel. It was dividing us over focus. It was the Epstein, files. And then a lot of my favorite social media people just started getting cranky and critical. And they weren't even appreciative of the fact that Trump is up against the gates of hell itself. They started picking on him. And I said, there's corresponding unity is happening on the left. They're smelling blood in the water. They got their No Kings March there. They feel like they can win. And I've been told that given midterms, most Christians, most people, 35% don't show up and vote during midterms. We're about to see a major reversal. And part of that is evidenced by what I'm watching here in Texas. The collapse of the country. The country's going backwards, not forward, in a lot of critical ways. Look at this epic city thing. By the way, let the camera show that I have my guest with me, Frank Gaffney. He's president of the Institute for the American Future. Securing America is a daily program I listen to on Real America's Voice. He's vice chairman of the Committee on the Present Danger regarding China, which I've been listening to. And his background as a staff member in the Senate Armed Service Committee, et cetera. So he's well informed. Frank, thanks for being with us.
I praise God.
I want to get that, make sure that microphone's picking your voice up strong, because you've got a message here. But I want to show some B-roll on Epic City. This is when I woke up, when I realized in our own backyard, Frank, I got hundreds of acres of well-funded. I'm looking for a building for a training center. I'm looking for $1.5 million, $2 million, $3 million. But they've got hundreds of millions of dollars to go into creating cities in America, like right in Texas, 402 acres right there near a main thoroughfare of Dallas life. It's a complete everything you want for the perfect model city. Folks, they're targeting Texas because I believe they figure if they could put a Muslim progressive Marxist in office who just came out of one little Queens district one week and then the next week is running the financial capital of the United States, New York City. If they could do that, I guess their MO is go right to where they're strongest and conquer them. Look at this building. Can you believe the scope of what they have the funding to do? This is Qatar. This is the Arab Oil Emirates. This is the billions of dollars. This is the downside of Donald Trump's peace plan and global harmony is it extends the sword that is aimed at our throat in the United States. That's the only way I could put it. And I don't think I'm exaggerating, but Frank, you are leading the I would say the attack. Bannon is down here. Steve Bannon's here for like a month, which is admirable. I mean, I love these generals that go set up their camp right where the front line is. I'll see if I can get him here on the show. But tell me about your meeting. Chip Roy, Congressman Chip Roy is heading this. So we're not alone. We have some representation, correct?
I can't believe it, but yes, we do. I've been at this since 1998, Lance, and if you had told me even 4 or 5 months ago that we'd have everybody from Greg Abbott through the lieutenant governor, the attorney general, the 2 United States senators, the candidates for various offices, including those, on and on, all basically saying we have to prohibit Sharia in the state of Texas, I'd have bet my last nickel that that couldn't possibly happen. And it is happening, and in part, it's for the same reason that you just mentioned. Epic City was so much in your face that we're not only watching this immense amount of money flowing in for the purposes of building 1,000 units for residential and all these other things, as you say, it's a complete city, but it's also something else. It is an incipient no-go zone, which we've seen populating like mushrooms after the rain all over Europe, where the authorities are not welcome and they don't feel safe going into it.
You hear about this, like
even
in
the
Europe,
fire
Tommy
department.
Robbins will say where there's areas where the cops don't go.
Right.
Islam's there, and you think, what in the world? But I remember reading an article saying that even their mortuary, that their policies in their own cities don't even acknowledge the constraints and restrictions and requirements of federal state law. And so they literally, Abbott and these guys said, hey, you're not even running your mortuaries. They would go into every part of business and run it the way that they want to do it, almost like they're creating an in-your-face sanctuary city
according
for
to
Islam.
Sharia. That's the key piece of this. This is where you discover the DNA of what we're up against.
Okay.
And it's codified in something that is called Sharia. It is often described, not so much by Muslims, by the way, but by ignorant people of other faith, as a religion. There's a textbook that's used in 7th grade Muslim schools across this country called All About Islam. The first sentence of which, Lars, literally, quote, is, Islam is not a religion. It is a complete way of life. It's the path. The path is Sharia. The path is what every Muslim must follow in order to be a faithful Muslim. And do you know who defined what's on that path? The Prophet Muhammad. He's in 90-some places in the Quran described as the perfect man, or words to that effect. And this is the kicker, and this is what the people of Texas have got to become knowledgeable about. Think of just about every horrible, demonic kind of behavior you can imagine. Muhammad practiced it, and he is the guy that is supposed to be emulated by everybody else. Whether it's rape, whether it's slavery, whether it's child marriage.
Child marriage? Oh, we're talking like marrying a
9-year-old. She was 6 when he married her, but he exercised discipline and didn't rape her until she was 9. But that's now something that is deemed to be the model that is to be followed, and lots of Muslim old men do it. And lots of children, some boys, by the way, as well as girls, are, destroyed by these people. So this is why I call it demonic. It is completely incompatible with Western civilization, Judeo-Christian civilization. And not least, it is not simply unconstitutional, it is anti-constitutional. It is designed to replace the Constitution, which, by the way, as you know, in Article 6 says it's the supreme law of the land. So it starts out where we're just going to have a parallel set of laws.
So I'll go back to Sharia. So there is, for all you listening to me, especially you guys that are in Texas, you got a window here, just a short window. There's a vote 2 pages of propositions, and this is one on banning Sharia law, right? We got it in for this.
The ballot
ballot
is about 2 pages, like 24 inches long.
Yep.
But at the very, very, very bottom of it is Proposition 10. And Proposition 10, the good news is it is at the bottom so you can find it easily, and it's got just 5 words. Texas should prohibit Sharia law. That would be the starting point of the kind of massive course correction we need here, because if we don't prohibit Sharia law will prohibit us.
Well, so what happens with Sharia law? That's basically the courtroom of Muslims. How does it affect a non-Muslim though?
Non-Muslims have a choice under Sharia. If you are people of the book, as they say, Christians, Jews, and Zoroastrians, you actually get 3 choices. You can convert to Islam, you can live as an enslaved person, they call them dhimmis, subject to the whim of any Muslim who decides that they're not going to tolerate you. Or third, you can choose to die. People who are not of the book, people who are not of the book only get 2 options. Just convert or die. This sounds incredible, but all you have to do is look at Europe right now, and you see how this is playing out. In fact, on the 9th of January, right here in Dallas, our friends Jenny and Glenn Story of Patriot Mobile sponsored an absolutely sensational program at the Gaylord Hotel. One of the guys who was speaking was a fellow you probably know. If you don't, you need to. Geert Wilders.
Yeah.
Dutch parliamentarian, has been under death sentence, basically, for over 20 years. And he came in and he talked about how the lights of freedom, he described 7 of them, are being inexorably snuffed
right out
in Europe. And people take from all this, well, that's a terrible thing, but it's not happening here. Or if it is happening here, it's a decade away from being a problem. He said, no, ladies and gentlemen, it's here right now, and it is a problem right now. And to your point, how does this affect the non-Muslim? It affects him in any number of ways, especially as people in positions of responsibility decide that they're going to accommodate the demands of Muslims. Let me just give you one example.
All right, we got 45 seconds.
Halal food.
Yeah.
Halal food is consecrated to Allah and brought forward by the most inhumane form of slaughter of animals imaginable. And now it's becoming the standard in Texas schools.
I'm watching entire industries that are expanding to provide halal compliant. It's almost like kosher.
It is.
To them, it's just it's another way of making money. I didn't know that the ASPCA. I think some liberals need to find out how they kill the animals.
Big time.
So that you could see how bizarre this religion is. All right, look.
It's not a religion.
It's not a religion. It's a political movement under the guise of religion. Listen to me. You can go to bansharia.com. Go there now. I want you to go to bansharia.com. I'm going to hold Frank Gaffney over for another segment because I want to talk to him about this. And you can get a tax deduction on that. You need to act, folks. This is urgent. And it's all the more urgent because it's being done under the cover of deception. So most aren't hearing about it. We'll be right back.
We're entering a period of time that has increased hostility against people of faith. It's a time when Christians are going to be tested on a moral, physical, psychological, and even a financial basis. I'm here to remind you that God is the one who has blessed you thus far, and He will take care of you in the future. You have a divine responsibility, however, to see trouble and prepare yourself. For example, with record inflation eating away at the value of the U.S. dollar, the savings in your retirement account is in danger of slipping away. I recommend diversifying your 401k or IRA out of paper assets and into physical gold. And the best way to do that is with a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. Now that includes no penalties, there's no taxes when you transfer current retirement funds into Birch Gold. To see how it works, I want you to go to lancewallnau.com/Birch. and get your free info kit, and you'll be glad that you did.
So the CAIR, C-A-I-R, which is like the Council for Islamic Relations? American Islamic Relations. All right, so listen, folks. I know some of you get frustrated with me because you're so smart. I know you've been one way. I'm reading 7 mountains at one time, people. I'm tracking a lot of information. But there'll be my people that'll go, Lance, didn't you know that this is Islam and the red and green, I think they're calling it, right? It's Islam and the Marxism and fusion together, which is the Mondami effect, plus the progressive, liberals?
Globalists.
It's the what?
The globalists.
The globalists. All right, so we have, in other words, you've got this trifecta working, and the common goal is to take down traditional, populist, Christian-influenced America. That's all it is. And my concern is we're not quite as bad as we were before the George Floyd riots, and everybody realized after the riots we were all being intimidated by a Marxist BLM movement that was acting under this guise of being tolerant, and if you're really for black people, you're for Black Lives Matter. So I think we've gotten past that and realized, man, did we get played on that one? These guys are Marxists through and through. They are creating and looking for incidents that could be disruptive in order to destabilize the institutions and structures of America. And we're finding it right now, Frank. We're finding that this Islam is actually supported by the progressives, as we saw in New York. They see a future path to a frustrated, uneducated populist group that frankly is being groomed in kindergarten and elementary school and high school and then in colleges to think in terms of leaning towards Marxism and socialism and being critical of the United States, right?
Big time.
So this is not just a weird, exceptional thing in Texas. This is a plan, isn't it, to merge forces in the United States.
Especially because, as you said, if they can take out Texas, the rest of the nation is gone. This is the Alamo, baby. And if we not stand,
I need to say this, CAIR, which was quoted by Obama and even by Bush, had meetings with him, got exposed. Basically, enough history has been exposed so that it was designated as a terrorist organization by Governor Abbott.
Right, and Governor DeSantis as well.
And DeSantis in Florida. Mm-hmm. Terrorist organization. And Ken Paxton, our good Attorney General Ken Paxton, who's running for Senate, I guess he's in a lawsuit with him right now, right?
Yeah, well, I think CAIR started it by suing the governor over that designation.
They did. That's typical.
So he's now going back at him. Yeah,
gosh.
Big time.
Next Star reached out to the cities of Arlington and Plano to ask about the alleged female no-go zones. What are no-go zones? Would you explain one more time to our audience here what they are?
Sure. The whole idea of Sharia supremacism is to take over, to conquer things. What you do in a society or a nation like ours, which you can't take it one bite, is you chew it up incrementally. So you create these enclaves. And over time, those enclaves become exclusively Muslim and exclusively adherent to Sharia. So the Constitution of the United States, the freedoms, God-given freedoms, lest we forget.
By the way, I want you guys to know, you that are tuning in right now, what you're looking at is an aerial view of Epic City, which is what they have the funding and the political will and the people to create their own schools, universities, hospitals, their own policing, their own courts, their own homes, with Muslim names for all the streets, the call to prayer blaring out. Basically, it's almost like if I was a Pentecostal, I'd say I want to build an apostolic, Holy Ghost Christian community, and I want to put a city right in the middle of this state over here so I can influence the entire region with my religion. They're doing it. We don't do that. They do that. They think politically. They think academically. They think in terms of. Matter of fact, I read one. It just burns me up, Frank. I was reading one. CAIR, one of the founders of CAIR, said that that this was just from last year's speech, where he said we want 5,000 journalists, and we want to get scholarships to train 5,000 Islamic journalists, 5,000 history students who will be professors, 5,000 lawyers, 5,000 documentary filmmakers and 5,000 political aspirants getting into the political system. Our goal is in 20 years, we'll have 50,000 per year, and we'll have 50,000 in 10 years. In each of those areas, guarantee we'll have a number of congressional districts and possibly a Supreme Court seat. Mm-hmm. These guys are thinking like dominionists. That's the ironic thing.
Right. But just to answer your question fully, what you get once you've established that enclave like Epic City is a place that the authorities are not welcome and don't feel safe to go in, including the fire department, by the way. And we see this all over Europe now. And, of course, in other parts of the world where Islam is dominant. But in these areas, in these American or, European, predominantly Christian areas, the conquest is advanced by creating places that don't belong any longer to the host country. They are effectively now consecrated to Allah, and only His law, Sharia, applies.
All right, we're going to have this vote coming up now shortly, but people might be watching this evergreen. They might watch it after the vote comes up. We're in 2026, and we're talking about a February vote.
March 3rd is when
March 3rd is when
it's underway right now in the early voting phase.
You're in Texas, or you know someone in Texas. For the love of God, wake them up and tell them they got to go because these politicians, Abbott and all these other guys, they're responding to the shriek of the base, the MAGA awake base. But if they don't see any more resolve other than their firebrand followers, the thing piddles out. That's the way politics works. Mm-hmm. So we got to create a fire under here. What does Ban Sharia Action do? Because his nonprofit is bansharia.com. Help Frank out. Listen, man, the guys, him and his wife, they come into my office today. I said, get a microphone. I got all kinds of stuff I got to cover today. I said, Frank, Bannon's in town. You're here. This is a priority. This is like the Alamo. We got to get all the soldiers together and fund this guy. But you can do, a nonprofit can only go so far. You could take some more aggressive political action with Ban Sharia Action.
Correct.
.com?
That's a C4, yes. Yeah,
all right, so what are you going to do with that?
That money is going to go directly into the kinds of things that are part of a political campaign, not for a candidate, but for a policy initiative.
Listen, the left will come after this guy. I mean, you see all those Somalian daycares, how much crap the left gets away with. They never police their own billions. You take a conservative like this, and he comes up against Sharia, I guarantee they're going to go like with a fine. They're going to like dental floss over everything he does to make sure it's good. I want you to send him like $50, $40, something for his banshariaaction.com because he needs to be unfettered to go into the political arena and punch. He can't just be doing educational things like this, waving red flags. He's got to go into the arena. So bansharia.com, tax deductible. Banshariaaction.com is where you can help get behind Frank. And you're not alone, obviously. You're not just
We're
here.
Not alone.
I saw that big gala that was over there.
The Gaylord.
I listened to the Prime Minister, whatever, Gert.
Should be Prime Minister.
Should be Prime Minister.
Yeah.
He should be Prime Minister. But I listened to his speech. It was sobering.
And then there was Steve Bannon.
And
then on top of that, there was Glenn Beck. It was
Glenn Beck, yes.
Fantastic program.
It's quite a night. But I got 3 minutes, and whenever I talk to you, there's always more incendiary, well, let's just say, there's some stuff, I don't call it gossip, but I call it news that has not been coming out yet. Tell me something interesting about your other research that you're doing, because you get into the dark corners of what the devil's up to and expose it. What have you found in the area of the sex? Everybody's in the Epstein world. What have you got on this subject?
I want to give credit where it's due. Pastor Jaco Boyens, who's based right here in Dallas.
All right. So Jaco's doing some work research, but you're the guy that's codifying it on my show.
I'm bringing it to as big an audience as I can get, which is yours. Jaco points out that just as in Britain, where we've seen decades of British girls, mostly lower class girls, systematically raped and enslaved. Some say as many as 1 million of them over several decades, with the government of Britain simply ignoring it.
For real.
For real.
It's no wonder there's like civil unrest and civil war over there.
There's coming civil war. But there's also this kind of rape jihad taking place against American girls as well. And what Jaco points out is that there's something called Sugar Baby University, which is an arrangement whereby beneficial relationships can be fostered between co-eds and rich Middle Eastern guys who will kind of parachute in, sweep them off their feet, take them either to some place like Las Vegas or maybe to Paris or maybe to Riyadh or Doha. And more often than not, what they get is raped. And sometimes it's not just being raped by the guy who picked them up, it's his friends as well, which is very much consistent with what was going on in Rotterdam and places like that in Britain. The point is, these universities know this is happening. This is a matter of record.
And the benefit is they get money. They get money for their tuition. They get like a scholarship program.
This is all about paying down
go on a wild date with
debt.
a Middle Eastern guy, all expenses paid, and get your tuition half off. 20.
And the Qataris have got substantial money in most of these universities too.
How many universities are we talking about?
We're talking about just about every one. I'm told.
What?
Just about every one. Texas
What
A&M,
in the world?
for example, University of Texas.
Texas A&M.
Yep, even Baylor. This is the kind of thing. Liberty University. There was a gal I was just told about the other day. Liberty University had one. I'm not saying it's everybody, but had one of these girls who converted to Islam and moved to the Middle East. Her family is beside themselves, understandably.
So that's called Sugar Baby
Sugar Baby University.
Sugar Baby University.
Yes, sir.
Will there be more
I call it Rape You.
Yeah, rape you. But in defending the West, we have our hands full, Frank Gaffney.
We do.
But this Sharia in Texas, I want to. You can put up a graphic. I'll get to you, Will, my producer, showing all the dots where they're attempting to put mosques in Texas right now. We'll put that up as we close out our segment here. You'd be shocked the number of mosques that are going up. They're attempting to go up, but we've got a team. And we'll introduce more about that because you're working with these guys that gather together sheriffs, pastors, concerned citizens, and patriots and push their Sharia takeover out. And I can show you how they're pushing it out of regions. It's a real battle. We're going to talk more about it in the future. Frank Gaffney, thanks for coming by.
Bansharia.com. Vote by the 3rd of March, please, for the last item on the ballot.
Last item on the ballot, and it's written like lawyer confusion on all the items, but on the last one, you ought to be clear.
Amen.
Ban Sharia. See you again in the next half if you're with Real America's Voice. See you again tomorrow if you're just watching the podcast. God bless.
Did you enjoy this latest episode? Please remember to share it with your friends, because the more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to navigate the world